Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, in a very sunny and hot Ibiza, which might surprise a few of you.
Yeah, and me in a sunny and hot Mallorca, which was supposed to be a stormy Mallorca today, and nothing's transpired, Mark. I don't know what's going on.
We've got a yellow warning still in effect over here, Rich, which I'm not quite sure what the yellow warning is, to be honest, but it's still in effect. But it's absolutely beautiful out there. I've just been out watching some friends play paddle, and I had to take my jacket off. It was that warm, mate. So I think we're back to summertime, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the weather's been bad. I mean, I know you, Mark, Ibiza got hit probably worse than Mallorca did again last few days. Obviously we've seen some quite shocking pictures, particularly that red car. Yeah, I trust the people in the car were okay.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, Rich, even though the storms have been awful, there's been no injuries reported. I'm sure there's a few minor scratches along the way, as they always do when you're cleaning up the water or pumping it out, but no real serious injuries have been reported, which is a godsend, really. But did you see the video of the car in the Sant'Eulalia River? Did you see that?
Was that the red car that was
the red car
down? Yeah.
Now here's an interesting.
Ended up in the sea, didn't it?
In the sea, yeah, it went from the river. But here's an interesting point, Rich. You know that obviously you know a lot about the Balearics because you've been here for about 74 years. There's only one river. There's only one river in all the Balearic Islands, and that's in Sant'Eulalia. Did you know that?
There's only one river.
So we've only got one river, but it's more of a ravine nowadays, mate, because it only comes into operation when the weather's bad. And it picked up a red car and took it out to sea, which went viral. So no one was in it, but everyone thought it was AI, but I can guarantee you it wasn't AI.
So that's good news. There was nobody in it, I think, because it didn't look great. So how are you, Mike? How's it?
How
was the weekend? How was the weekend parties?
Oh God. Well, I've got a little skit about that, and also I've told you we had our Ibiza T10 cricket tournament, which we got very lucky because we managed to play 8 of the 10. We managed to play 8 of the 10 games. But
it was about an over each.
Yeah, no. It went to T8 and then it went to T6 in the end because we were running out of time. And then in the end, we went to the bar and just had a few beers in the end, mate. So it was good, mate. We got away with it because I don't know if the same happened over there for you, Rich, but it started raining at night and then it cleared up in the morning. So the days were, sometimes it's the other way around, isn't it? Where it rains all day and it's nice at night. But this time it was raining in the evening and nice in the daytime. So we got away with it. It wasn't particularly it was a very memorable weekend, but probably not for the right reasons. But yeah, I'm fine, mate. I'm fine. And some sad news, Rich. This is the last in our season 1 of Talking Balearics.
Last of the season 1, yes. People will be devastated. There'll be calls into
devoed, mate. They'll be devoed.
But because you're going on holiday. That's the only
reason. Well, and I'm away for I'm away for 4 weeks, so we'll reassess when I come back. But
it's not as if the internet doesn't exist around the whole world, but he just can't be bothered. Everybody out there.
I'll be on different time zones. I just think we deserve a break because did you see that we're up to number 57 in the charts, Rich? It's a good number, isn't it? 57.
I think it's the public that need the break rather than us, to be perfectly honest. Although I have had, weirdly enough, and this is probably about right for the last week, I've had some quite nice comments this week as well.
Oh, that's nice. Good. So, that's good. Yes. I mean, finally you are getting more professional, so I'm dragging.
Yeah, of course.
Dragging you,
and then we stop.
Dragging you along by my by your fingertips. What have you got for me this week, Rich, on Talking Balearics?
My favourite subject, as you know, is the tourist tax. So we're going to talk about that because that's coming to the news this week for some reason. Also, Palma's mayor crackdown. He's announcing sweeping changes to things that are happening here, particularly in his area anyway, of Palma. And then just a little story also about something that came out of the ABTA conference. Obviously, we had the ABTA conference here last week, which is all the sort of big hitters out of the travel trade that came to visit Calvia last week. One story I think is a bit of a warning, not only for obviously resorts, but also for the government, because we've got a budget upcoming in autumn, which could affect, quite a lot of us, I think, over the course of the next few months. That's my 3 stories today.
Well, I'm just going to go. I don't want to really go into it too much, but I just want to touch about the weather. I want to talk about AMET, which is the weather service, and the Balearic government and what they've been doing. So I just want to go into a bit of detail on that. Just put some meat on the bone. I want to talk about the club closing parties. I know we mentioned it last week, but it was a really important week for Ibiza. So we had club closing. So I'm just going to touch on that, and also a big drug bust over here, Rich, which is pretty eye-watering, to be honest. So we don't talk about about it very often, but I thought this one it's made national news and it's probably going to make international news in the next couple of days. So we'll just talk about that. So I'll tell you what I'd like you to do, Rich, because it's something you don't talk about a lot, is the tourist tax.
Well, I mean,
ad nauseum. Well, you've got several things you love talking about, and it's fair to say that you're quite obsessed with the tourist tax. Tell me why you're obsessed, Rich.
Only because, listen, this is something that you and I have touched on over many years. We both, I think, disagreed with it when it first came out, but I think we've sort of been swung around to actually agree with it now. We agree with the sustainability part of it. The annoying thing is that over all the years that it's been going and all the money that's been collected, I think we touched on this a few weeks ago, that only actually 12% of the tourist tax revenue has actually been used for the good things of sustainability. Whereas, we've highlighted lots of different reasons that it could be used on broken pipes. You talked about in Ibiza the other day. Obviously, with all the rain and everything else, could it have helped with drainage and stuff like that? I mean, there's been loads of different things that we could highlight. Obviously, there's with all the rain, and then you go to something like where there's been a water shortage here as well over the summer season. So there's lots of different things that the tourist tax could be used for. But yeah, the annoying thing is only 12% of it has actually been used. But the PSOE, the main opposition party of the Balearics, are open to agreement with the government, which is unusual, the PP, that they are comfortable with changes to the tourist tax. Their former spokesman, who was also the tourism minister, his name is Negaruela, I think his name is, said there'll be no obstacles to its approval and no excuses either. The PP have confirmed that they're in talks with the PSOE to agree on the wording of the amendment to the sustainability tourism tax legislation. PSOE have registered a proposal for changes, but the PP currently insists that the measure must first be approved by the government sustainability pact. So I think everybody's of the opinion that the tourist tax should go up. I don't have a problem with that, particularly in July and August when we are saturated with people. I personally think it should be a year-round tax. Personally, it's not at this current moment in time. There is a sort of a few months that it's not paid. I also think everybody should pay. Under 16s don't currently pay either. I think that's rubbish. You know what I mean? It's everybody should pay really, because we're all part of the footfall that happens on our islands and everything else. So I think it's really, really important. But I think what's laughable here is that this government minister Nugarella, how you pronounce his name, they spent 8 years in government and didn't do actually anything with as I've just highlighted. Just 12% of it has actually been spent, of which the majority of the time those guys were in government. I find it laughable. But anyway, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just going to push back a little bit, Rich. I don't think under 16 should pay. I've got to tell you that, because I think it increases the family holiday. If you come over, mum, dad, and 3 kids, it just increases the cost of the holiday a little bit. Say it's €5 a day, for instance. So say you've got 3 kids under 16 or 2 kids under 16. So you're paying €15 a day times 7. It's extra £100, really. I don't agree with that, Rich. I mean, but it's not the first time we've disagreed.
No, it's not. But I mean, listen, we're talking about footfall. We're talking about a number of people that actually make their way across Mallorca or whatever they're doing throughout the course. These, no matter how old they are, they're still footfall. It's like, saying that, I don't know, you can't have a vote because you're only this age. It sounds to me like it's ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, I mean, charge them €1, whatever, charge them 50 cents, charge them a nominal fee, but they're still part of the problem, regardless of which way you look at it.
I get it, Rich. I think the major, I mean, you've gone from, let's face it, Rich, you've gone from not agreeing on the tourist tax to now saying that everyone should pay it and they should pay more. I mean, that's a big flip flop, Rich. That is. I mean, you've gone from north to west. Even north to south, actually.
North to west. There you go. You are allowed to change your mind on things. I think that I was gently swayed, and in the end, and also listen. Well, how far are we down the sustainability route right now? We're not that far.
We're not far at all, are we?
And at the end of the day, tourists themselves need to understand. And I don't think tourists would have a problem as long as but the government shout about what they do with this money and how they spend it.
Yeah, but Rich, I fundamentally disagree. And you know why? Because they're so inept. So if 12% has been spent, then why are we putting it up when we can't even spend what we've got now?
I totally agree with you there. I have no problem with that. I totally agree.
Because until I think on a few podcasts ago, you came out with that stat, didn't you? I can't remember, but it blew our socks off. And I remember you got very agitated about it, and I did as well. The thing is, as you rightly say, this last 10 days has shown that the infrastructure in the Balearics needs help. It needs work on. I think it's several hundred million sitting there in the bank, I believe, Rich, isn't it? Yeah. So why aren't they using it for the infrastructure of the island? Because that's what tourism's all about, infrastructure. Now, until they get their act together, I'm fundamentally against changing the tourist tax, because if they can't manage what they've got, why do they need more? It's as simple as that. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, that the problem is the amount of people coming over. They need to pay towards the island. But the mismanagement, surprise, in the Balearics, they just can't get their act together. And until they do that, I think they should freeze the tourist tax and in some ways maybe even reduce it, because at the end of the day, if they can't spend what they've got, then why are they changing things? I really don't get it, Rich. And I'm not disagreeing with what you say. I'm disagreeing with what they're doing with the tourist tax, because they're so inept, so they're not doing anything with it.
Well, no, I mean, let's just put this number into figures so you actually understand. There's a total of 698 million euros has been collected. Of this, 218 was used during the pandemic years of 2020 to 2022. Of the remaining 480 million euros, only 59 million has been spent, which means just over 12%.
I mean, for instance, we've got this situation in Ibiza where last week the infrastructure, we can see that it's not good enough. We've been flooded for 3 days. Why can't we use the money for that, for instance, Rich?
Well,
is it not in the remit? I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, I think it totally is. It totally is. It goes back to the burst pipes you talked about in Ibiza, but it also goes back to, have we not learned anything from San Lorenzo here a few years ago when, people died? People actually died in those floods. It was awful. And I tried to get up there. You couldn't get anywhere near the place. It was that bad. I was working with another radio station then, and we were trying to help, get food and clothing, etc. to the people. You couldn't. And the closest I could get was Manacor, which is, I don't know how many miles away. So, yeah, it's utterly stupid that they've got all this money and they're not spending it. But, I think we as the public need to then start saying, well, come on, what's going on here? I understand your point. Why are we putting it up if we can't spend it? There must be a way of spending this money now. But, if this last week hasn't highlighted the fact that we need that money spent on infrastructure, for me, it's staring you in the face.
Also, Rich, don't you think nobody's really talking about it either? It only seems to be me and you getting upset about these things, because even when it's in the press, it doesn't seem to be getting any pushback. It's bizarre. There's 300 million euros there waiting to be spent, but nobody seems to be interested in spending it. I just don't get it.
No, there's a blog coming on, Mark.
Yeah, I can feel a rant coming on, Rich. Talking about the powers that be, Rich, I want to touch on not so much about the floods themselves, but what the actual authorities did, Rich, because I remember last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, where we just had the bulletin alert. Did you get an alert this time, Rich, or not?
No, we didn't, but there were people that did, because I know people in Calador did, because they had an alert over on the East Coast. I don't know how much of Calador, but I know some people did, because they were obviously woken up a bit like you were. I can't remember what the time was, but I know I heard someone say that they were woken up by it. But surely, we all know this is happening. We're all aware of there's bad weather coming. Do you really need an alert to let you know? Do you know what I mean? I'm not quite sure.
Well, yes, we do, because it would go back to the San Lorenzo. I mean, anything that the communication for me is a positive. Now, believe it or not, we were at the cricket on Saturday when the alert went off about 5 o'clock, and there was about 30 of us there sitting around, and you can imagine 30 phones went off at the same time. So it was quite a very weird sensation. What I would say, Rich, is what happened 2 weeks ago, when we had the first flash floods where, I think Mallorca was relatively untouched, but Ibiza really got it hard, especially Ibiza town, and they got it wrong. I think they got it wrong. I think, or should we say they didn't get it right rather than they got it wrong? I know that sounds a bit strange, but I think ever since then they've been overcompensating, Rich, because we're getting so many messages now as well. We were on orange alert on Saturday. We're on yellow alert today and the sun's shining. The kids were off school last week for one day, and we probably had 3 or 4 minutes of rain for the whole day, and the kids were kept off school. I think they've panicked. I think the authorities have panicked after what they did before, because they didn't go far enough first time round, and now they're overcompensating again. And if you see the pictures, that it's like they're in the war room, they're sitting around maps and graphs and things like that. I mean, it's totally bizarre what's gone on in the last 10 days. It really is. And I just think, a little bit of common sense. I mean, my parents, who are no longer with us, must be turning in their grave. They were born during the Second World War. They're war babies. I mean, I'm sure they went through a hell of a lot more than a few drops of rain for the school to be cancelled. Yesterday, for instance, as well. So yesterday, the parents were told to go and pick their children up at 12 o'clock here. Bus service was still not running. And it's quite bizarre, really. As I said, I think they were overcompensating. They didn't get it right first time round, and they're overcompensating second time round. So I think we just need a bit of common sense, or I would just say better to be safe than sorry rich as well. Listen, I'm not going to doubt that, but the world does keep turning, and we do need to get on with things. So it's been a quite surreal experience over the last 14 days to see the authorities' reaction to the storms. Yes, the storm's been bad. We didn't go far enough to start with. We're now going too far. Let's get back to a bit of normality.
Good. Let's move on to the mayor of Palma, actually. His name is Jaime Martinez. He was, as far as I can remember, he was the vice president to the old PP government. And we're going way back, actually. I remember meeting him once many, many moons ago. But he's now the mayor of Palma. And he's announced a package of measures to be implemented across the municipality. Among those to be applied as soon as possible will be no more holiday rentals in Palma in any form whatsoever, it says. Until now, such rentals were prohibited in multi-family buildings, but the restriction will now be extended to include single-family homes and room rentals, which has now been advertised, or which have been so far been advertised on platforms such as Airbnb. There are 639 legal tourist rental licenses in the municipality, which sounds quite a small number to me, to be perfectly honest, when I look at it. Those of which are valid will remain so, but if they are cancelled, no new permits will be issued, he warned. The aim is for the measure to be approved, not at the next council meeting, which is too soon, but the following one, although it will take effect retroactively as well. So no new permits to be issued in Palma for tourist rentals. The opening of any new hostel will be banned throughout Palma as well. Those that still exist will be encouraged to convert into hotels or residential housing. And finally, which is an interesting development, the party boats will be completely banned from next season onwards along Palma's Paseo Maritimo. Quite a lot of the party boats that were happening from Magaluf got banned from docking on the jetty in the middle of Magaluf Bay by the Calvia Council. So what they did was they moved to Palma and they bussed the people from Calvia to Palma to pick up the party boats. Now they're banning them from leaving Palma. So I don't quite know how the party boats are going to work next year. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, Rich, isn't it? I mean, looking at the 639 legal tourist rentals and no new licenses will be issued. Now, that means that you're going to drive people into illegal rentals, because I would imagine that if you've got rules and regulations that if you meet a certain criteria, you're allowed to have a license, then I mean, I know I'm a villa operator, so I'm bound to be on the side of new licenses, but that would just say to me that you'll drive it even further underground on that one. I don't quite understand where he's going with that one.
I think it's probably a bit of a fallout from the ABTA travel conference, Mark, where obviously all the hoteliers, quite a lot of the hoteliers and some of the tour operators saying, well, the only way to actually, make sure that how many people you've actually got on the island is to put them into hotel rooms, because then they're fully licensed, they know how many people are in that hotel, etc., etc. Whereas in either rentals or even illegal rentals, you don't actually know how many people are there, and that's what's. I think it's more than just illegal rentals that are affecting the island's population in the height of summer, but it's definitely one of the factors.
But I think Palma's probably a little bit behind Ibiza, because I think Ibiza kind of declared war maybe 2-3 years ago, Rich, especially on Airbnb and things like that. Nowadays, there are no new licenses being issued here in Ibiza anyway. There haven't been for about 2 or 3 years. There's a moratorium. So if you've got a license, I mentioned it before, it's like gold dust. If you've got a license. So, Airbnb, the Ibiza Council declared war on them years ago. They're now working hand in hand with Airbnb. Airbnb now insists that you take off the advert if you haven't got a license. So I think you're playing catch up, but do you think it's a move in the right direction?
From a rental point of view, possibly. I don't know. Look, I live in a complex that doesn't allow tourist rentals, to be honest. I think a lot of people do. I don't have a problem with it personally. Obviously, you've got to have some sort of rental. I think long-term rentals are allowed, obviously, because how are other people going to live? They've got to have 6 months. I think is the minimum, isn't it, for a long-term rental? So no, I don't have a problem with it. I think moving forward, we have to look at all the possibilities of sustainability, and this is probably one of them. Definitely, by banning, well, obviously, not issuing more licenses, but banning illegal rentals. And this goes also hand in hand, or goes back to I think we were talking about last week, where the fact that you could get a license but not actually be registered for the tourist tax, which is ridiculous. So, hopefully, with the new system and everything that's taking place, those two things will go together.
I just wish there was a bit more of a strategy, Rich. That's what I'm saying. I think it's knee-jerk reactions all the time. I think they could really benefit from a 5 or 10 year plan and say, right, this is what we're doing over the next 5 or 10 years. If it is a knee-jerk reaction to the ABTA conference, that's even worse, Rich, because it's probably been harangued by a few travel agents, come out and said these things. So I just wish we'd strategize a little bit more. Ibiza's like that. I'm sure Menorca and Formentera are probably similar as well. Just need to strategize, because we've got an amazing product. We just need to probably utilize it in a better way.
Agreed.
Now, we had a very strange, something was found on the beach in Ibiza last week, Rich, and it made the national press. It was a foot. I don't know what to say. I don't know really what to say about this, but a holidaymaker...
A human foot.
A human foot was found on the beach. Now, a holidaymaker was walking down the beach, whistling in the air, just looking around, and literally stumbled across a human foot lying there on the beach. Nobody knows where it's from. They called the police. The police came straight away, and they don't know whether it was from maybe an immigrant's boat, or maybe it was something from the storms. It's been washed up from afar. We don't know, but it made the national press, Rich. So, all we're making the press for at the moment is big storms and feet on the beach, I'm afraid, this week. So the human foot's there. And also, talking about things that washing up on the beach, we had a big drug bust this week in Ibiza. Now, it's something that we don't talk about a lot on Talking Balearics, because we know it goes on. Ibiza is world famous for a party island, and certain things fuel the parties on the island. But this one was pretty spectacular, Rich, because the police were doing, or should we say the aduana, which is the customs and excise people on the sea. They saw a boat acting suspiciously. They followed it. They rammed it onto the beach just near Ibiza airport. They went into the boat and they found bales of cocaine in one of the cabins there. Now, there was 521 kilograms of cocaine, Rich, which has a street value of around about 20 million euros. Okay, so this wasn't a small drug bust. This was a major drug bust, and this is in October, Rich. Just imagine what would have been going on in July and August. So, massive drug bust. The people scarpered on. They got onto the beach and ran for it. So, and the police are now working hard to identify those individuals. So, hopefully, they'll get arrested and be taken to court, and they'll have to answer for their crimes. But that's pretty spectacular. It says 521 kilos of cocaine with a street value around 20 million euros. So big drug bust off the coast of Ibiza.
Chief Executive Jet2.com and Jet2 Holidays, Steve Peter, is known to me, and I think he's probably known to you as well. Steve does he's done an amazing job with the work he's done with Jet2. Has warned the UK government not to treat the travel sector as a cash cow ahead of the autumn budget, expressing deep concerns about the new tax burdens. Speaking at the ABTA conference, which was here in Calgary, of course, last week, he expressed fears that more workers will be pushed into a higher tax bracket with the November announcements. And he also warned that it will be no good for the travel industry, either at home in the UK or abroad as well. He says, we're an economic force for good, and as an industry that should be treated with respect and responsibility. Apart from our impact on the GDP, we create hundreds of thousands of jobs across the UK and abroad and depend on a large supply chain. But there's only so much elasticity of the British government wants to keep pulling out the finance of the travel industry. He says they pay £500 million to the Treasury in tax every year. So it's something, obviously, the budget is happening in November. There's lots of different speculation on where this government are going to go with raising taxes, which everybody thinks they're going to have to in order to fill in all the holes that they've obviously contributed to, obviously, the previous government and what they've contributed to over the course of the last year to 18 months. It's a good warning. It's a fair warning, I think.
Yeah, no, he's become a major player in the holiday industry, hasn't he, Steve Heapy? Jet2 Holidays do an amazing job in Ibiza. I know they do an amazing job in the rest of the Balearics as well. They really put bums on seats. Now, I booked a seat the other day from the UK, and just tax alone, it was a long haul seat, but the tax alone was £140 just for the tax from a long haul seat, which I find amazing, really, Rich. I mean, they've got to find better ways to raise these taxes. I really hope they don't go after the tourists again, because I think the tourists are really unfairly targeted at the moment. But I wouldn't hold our breath, Rich, because I don't trust this chancellor. I don't think Rachel from accounts really knows what she's doing. So I really hope she doesn't target the tourism. But I've got a horrible feeling there might be a surprise in there somewhere. So I hope I'm wrong, Rich, but let's wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that came out of the obviously the ABTA conference was the fact that it was in Calvi Beach, and they were obviously Calvi were very keen to show the people from ABTA the change that has happened in Magaluf. So much so that I was interviewed by Times Radio again over the weekend, who highlighted the fact, it has Magaluf gone from playing, I don't know what he said. I think it was playing Sean Kingston to moving across to jazz.
Yeah.
And I sort of said, I can assure you that that's not the way it's gone. It's gone in my opinion, the right direction. 80% of hotels are now 4 or 5 star in Magaluf. The change is dramatic. I think it's for the best. Where we see obviously more work to be done is in the second and the third line of the resort, and I think that's the same in San Ann, as you I think pointed out in the past as well.
But we are getting a regeneration slowly but surely, Rich. I mean, the government we've talked about it before. The local government are really trying to regenerate certain areas. We call it the urban centre of the town. And has Magaluf got an urban centre? I'm not sure if you have. It has. They've got an older town there, Rich.
Yeah, you're going to the second and third line. It's those
exactly
areas.
Exactly.
That you still have, the souvenir shops, the supermarkets. You know what I mean? And places that probably don't fit into the image that the government or the council want to portray. I think that is the next project. Once they finish the promenade, which is the second part of the promenade, will be done this winter. So the whole promenade will look fantastic, which it obviously does look now. But they're going to do the second half of it. Then I think they're going to have to look at the second and third line.
They're going to have to incentivise Rich as well, though, aren't they? I mean, I spoke about San Antonio Council offering €80,000 for a change of usage from a bar to like a restaurant or a boutique. So I think Magaluf, or Calvia Beach as it's known these days, I think they need to incentivise, because unless you incentivise, that people aren't going to change, are they? And there's a lot of people out there really stuck in their ways, Rich, and they don't know how to change, Rich. They've done the same thing for 35 years or 40 years. You're almost going to have to lead them by the hand and show them that there's a better way or a different way. So I hope the Magaluf and the Calvia Town Hall can offer something for those businesses.
I think so. They've proved already that, that over the past 10 years, along with public, private and European money as well, it's obviously some of it has come from the EU as well, that change can happen, and change can happen for the good. I think we both like the mayors in our particular areas. I think they're both doing, you say your mayor's doing a good job, I say our mayor's doing a very good job. And, we're not far off, actually, to be honest with you. Elections again, if the truth be known. It's the first part of 2027, isn't it? May 2027. Elections are going to start again. So we're not far off. And when I interviewed the mayor actually last time, he said, Richie, I said, are you going to do another 4 years? He said, well, because things go so slowly here. He says, quite a lot of the things that I want to do over 4 years is impossible to do. I need another 4 years to implement all this new stuff that I want to do in the resort, which I think is going to come to the second and third line.
The pension's not bad either, is it? Let's face it.
No, of course, yeah.
There's always that, isn't there? Yeah. Club closing, Richie. It's all over. It's all over, mate. It's gone. It's finished. Fini. Say fini. The end. Yeah, no, it's gone, mate. I mean, we were really concerned because we thought it would be a real washout. I think the island got away with it rather than it being a complete washout. It was just a little bit wet around the ears. but the closing parties, I didn't go to any of them, actually. I didn't even make Ocean Beach this year. I've got to tell you.
I saw Dwayne making his way to Amnesia, and he's 4x4, sort of basically rowing himself there. But Amnesia looked absolutely packed.
I was going to say, Dwayne got, I think he's got almost 1 million views on his 2 Amnesia posts there. Amnesia was incredible. My son was there. I just had lunch with my son before. He was there till, he said he left about 12:30, midday. He left Amnesia. He said it was absolutely...
the next day?
Yeah, the next day. So it goes on, I think it goes on till 1 o'clock it finishes. So that was incredible. Universe looked incredible on Sunday night. Obviously high close on Saturday. The 2 days of Amnesia, DC10 Monday. It's all over for another year, Rich. And I think what we'll do when we come back after a little break, we'll get Dwayne back on and talk about the year, because, as I said, I think it's the regeneration year for the clubs. I think they were down the pecking order. I think they're right top, front and centre now. And I think when we pick the bones out of it, I think for some of them it's been an amazing year. For some of them, not so much, because there's only so many people that go around. But clubbing's right back front and centre in the Ibiza itineraries for everybody these days. And welcome back to the clubs.
Local football, my son's team's still doing well. Second in the league, still
before you go further, all the girls out there listening, you can switch off now. Okay.
Yeah, you got to get a bit of football chat in before we leave. My son's team's still doing well. Unbeaten 6 games into the season. One away in Minorca over the weekend. Playing Udi Ibiza this coming week, Mark. And then while you're away, we'll be playing Port Maine as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's a good one. I will actually be online watching it, Rich. So I'll be there. I'll be there in spirit as well. Wait. So, I know, yeah. Please do. You're going to come over. You're going to make the effort.
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely coming to Port Maine. I'm going to that restaurant we talked about. I can't remember the name of it now. The Piccolo or whatever it was called. The nice meat restaurant.
Oh, Campilot.
Campilot. That's
defo, mate.
I'm going there. That's where I'm going.
And when I'm back from my travels, I'll be coming over to Mallorca as well. I promise.
Okay, good. Mark, enjoy your break.
Listen, great.
Are you allowed to tell us where you're going?
Yeah, well, I'm going a lot of travels. I'm going to Norway this week because I'm doing the Northern Lights. I'm ticking that off the list. So I'm doing the Northern Lights at Norway. When I come back, I'm going straight to Japan. I'm going to South Korea and maybe a little bit further east as well. And when I come back, I'll be heading off to Australia to watch the Ashes, the cricket. So I'm ticking plenty of things off the bucket list this year, Rich.
So hang on a minute, you're going all the way to Japan and South Korea, then you're coming all the way back again to then go all the way back again. That's not very well planned, is it? As a travel influencer that you're trying to be?
I'm coming back for a very good reason, Rich. The cricket tour to Benidorm. So I can't miss that, I'm afraid. So I've got to come back for that one. And then go back again. So
it's not coming back for your injections or anything, is it?
No, mate. No, I'll be having plenty of those before I leave anyway. So Richie, just leaves me say 44 episodes in season 1. That's pretty impressive, mate. I've got to tell you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, Mike. It's been fun. Hopefully, to the people that have listened to us have enjoyed it as much as we have, and you've got something out of it. And we'll be back, of course.
Yeah, we'll be back in a few weeks. Just watch our socials, and we'll come back refreshed. And are you getting away for winter at all, Rich? You going away?
I am probably going to stay here quite a lot. I'm probably going to go back and visit some family over Christmas. But no, with my son both my sons in the football world doing quite well at this particular moment in time. Touch wood. We're staying here and concentrating on their careers more than anything else.
Yeah, that was me last year, mate. I'm a true empty nester now, Rich. I'm going to make the most of it while I can, because you never know how long you never know when it's going to last. Listen,
exactly.
Rich, it's been a pleasure.
All right, mate. Take care.
Speak to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Make me dance.
You've been listening to the Talking Balearics podcast with Martin Makepeace and Richie Pryor. This is the only English-speaking podcast covering the Balearic Islands, which has a thriving expat population and welcomed 15.3 million international tourists in 2024, including almost 4 million UK visitors.